Hi, this is Alex Helmbrecht, the Sports Information Director at Chadron State College, and I'm sitting here this morning with Chadron State head football coach Jay Long. The Eagles had a successful start to the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference season in 2013 with a 30-24 victory over Colorado Mesa Saturday at Elliott Field. It was the Eagles' home opener. It was also Family Day. It had really a great crowd, the biggest crowd that has seen the Eagles play this year, 3,500 people. Family Day always has a tendency to bring a bunch of people out for the game, but Coach, I'm sure on the sidelines you're probably hoping that the game wouldn't have been that close to give all those family and loved ones that good of a show.
Well, yeah, when you look at it, it was an exciting atmosphere with all the crowd there, and with everybody's families there, that gives an extra added emotion for our players, to play well in front of their family. And when you look at it, we've had all three of our games this year come right down to the wire in the fourth quarter, and I'm assuming it's exciting for the fan. It's fingernail biting for the coach, that's for dang sure. So
yeah, as Coach mentioned, the Eagles won in overtime at Missouri S&T 40-34. Then that was followed by a tough come-from-behind loss to West Texas A&M 34-31. And then the Eagles switched the tables. They came from behind against Colorado Mesa to improve to 19-3 in RMAC openers. The Eagles, of course, in their 22nd season in the RMAC. Coach, just talk a little bit about the game. Mesa basically was spotted a 15-point lead. They took a 15-0 lead, but they were spotted 9 early points, kicked a field goal, and then recovered an onside kick and led the Eagles 9-0 before Chadron State had even touched the ball.
Yeah, when you look at our game, it was kind of a catch-22. When you look at how we finished, I was extremely proud of our guys, to fight through adversity. But the other side of it is we did put ourselves in a lot of adversity, especially early in the game, with that kickoff that resulted in a turnover and then the turnover. So.
Got a big game from Glenn Clinton. He's averaging 140 yards this season, and he was just right under that at 138. Probably would have had a little bit more than that. He busted a long run that was called back, unfortunately, due to a hold. But his tough running certainly paved the way and opened up things for your guys outside, particularly Nathan Ross, who really made 3 great catches, 2 of them for touchdowns. We'll talk about those in a second, but really kind of the play to me of the game was the Eagles were kind of struggling on offense. It was a 3rd down. The ball was thrown in. It bounces up off of a player, and Nathan goes into a crowd of 4 Mesa guys and comes down with the ball, gets the 1st down. The Eagles then go on to score. Talk a little bit about just how Nathan has responded. He didn't have the greatest game at West Texas A&M, and he's a leader on the field with the way that he plays.
I think the biggest thing is when you look at defenses, when they face us, they have to, they want to make us one-dimensional. And are they going to stop Glenn, or are they going to stop our passing game? And when you look at it, when we're running the ball well, it's going to help our receivers in our passing game, and vice versa. If we're throwing the ball well, it's going to help our running game. And he is a very big a big part, Nathan, is of our passing game. He's a special receiver with his speed. He works with tremendous work ethic, and he always has a ton of energy every single day when he comes up to practice. And when you look at it as a player, as an athlete, anybody that's ever been an athlete knows that you go into times when you're down, and then there's times when you're on the high. And at the end of the West Texas game, Nate didn't feel like he played like he knows he can. And in this game, I thought that he definitely stood up and has got back on that high of what Nate does, and that's be an energy player and make plays.
I thought Patrick O'Boyle also gave the team a spark. Came in what I like to call, I don't know if the coaching staff calls it, but the wild Pat offense. He comes in under center, runs a bunch of plays up the middle, utilizes great speed, but you threw a little wrinkle in there, and he threw a nice pass to Cody Rose for a 21-yard touchdown.
Yeah, when you look at it, this last spring, John, due to the NCAA semester rules, he took his less than full-time semester in the spring. So we had Pat as our starting quarterback all spring, and we put in this package in the spring and, dedicated a lot of time actually to it. And when we came into the season, we talked about what are we going to do with our Wild Pat package, our Pat package. And we started off and we used against S&T only one play. Then versus West Texas, I don't think we used it right off the top of my head. And then when we hit conference, it had been working real well in practice, and we thought it'd be a great change-up, and we'd been hitting it for about the past 3 weeks. And it was a spark. It did provide a spark. It was just something different that now a defense has to spend 10, 15 minutes out of their practice every single day to have to prepare for it. Yeah, Pat did provide that sparkle we were looking for.
We've talked plenty about the offense, but we got to shed some light on the defense, especially performance by Shea Cook, who really had one of the greatest games a Chadron State defensive players ever had. He finished with 23 total tackles, which is actually the second most tackles in a game. Two other players have had 24, and those happened quite a few years ago. So Shea definitely had a game. I always feel good when Shea plays well. He sat up in the booth with us during home games for his redshirt season, and he helped run the music for the football team, and then didn't really play much as a redshirt freshman, didn't play at all, kind of came on as a sophomore, then had a great junior season, and is certainly one of your leaders this year.
When you look at Shea's story, Shea's is an awesome story. I mean, it's like a story of a lot of Eagles, a lot of guys that have played here. Came in as a redshirted. That next year kind of had that gut check time where, well, can I do this? Am I good enough for this? And he said yes and went in and just went to work every single day. Made himself a very smart football player, and he knows his strengths of what he can and cannot do. And each year just continued to get better and better. And last year he had a great season. Him and Kevin Lindholm in that middle were just outstanding. And with Kevin leaving, Shea had to take over that next spot. And Shea's been building off of that, and we're very impressed with him. He got named our team captain, and it was awesome to see him flying around and making plays. The other part with Shea is he also does our long snapping duties, which is a duty that nobody. It's always kind of, hey, who long snapped in high school? And you'll see a couple kids say, maybe it was I did, but Shea just rose his hand and said, I can and I will. So he good kid, great guy.
That's good. The Eagles tradition is built on players like that. Speaking of tradition, a team that has had plenty of it in the past is trying to get it right now in the present and then carry that on to the future is Western State in Colorado. Several members of their staff are comprised by former coaches who spent some time at Chadron State. Jazz Baines, of course, is their head coach. He was a secondary and special teams coach here at Chadron State. And then their coordinators were all graduate assistants here. So they certainly present problems. They haven't had the success that they've wanted to, obviously. They're 0-3 this season, but they've played better. They lost to West Texas A&M 48-21 in their home opener, and then played Idaho State and lost 29-3. And then in conference last week, played their rival, as you mentioned, Adams State Grizzlies, and lost 16-14. So certainly a team that presents a challenge to the Eagles this week.
Yeah, when you look at it, I mean, in the RMAC right now, there's 10 football teams or 10 teams that play football. And out of those 10, 6 of them have a Chadron State guy that played at Chadron State on their staff. And, that typically happens when you have a team that has been so strong for so long as Chadron State football has been. But they keep stealing our coaches. And when you look at it, there's, I think, four Chadron State graduates on Western State staff. And when you look at them, you're going to see a lot of similarities as far as offense goes. You're going to see a lot of similarities defensively. Jazz Baines, who's also the head coach, and he's the special teams coordinator there and also works with the secondary. You're going to see some similarities that you've seen from here also. When you look at defenses, they run a little bit different defense than what we do. But there is similarities within our play for sure.
The Mountaineers have so far outrushed their opponents 316 yards to 291 this season, but they are getting about doubled up through the air. The Mountaineers have thrown for 583 yards. Their opponents are almost at 1,100. So it could be one of those aerial shows. Offensive coordinator Chris Stein might open up the playbook for John McClain and the rest of the offense, or you might see a lot of Glenn Clinton. I suppose that's what you really want to have in your offense is a nice balance.
When you look at it, if I was doing a clinic right now and I was coaching up you on our offense, I would say, hey, we want to be 50% run, 50% pass. And when we were talking up on the board, we'd tell you how and all that type of stuff. But ultimately, we want to win. And statistics doesn't mean we will go with what was working. As a game gets going, if we can run the ball, we're going to run it. And if the passing game is wide open and that's what they're giving us, then we're going to take it. And at the end, our goal is to be 50-50. But if we're 75-25 and we win the game, that's ultimately what we want to do.
The Mountaineer Bowl is a difficult place to play. The last time the Eagles were there, they won, but it was just a 15-7 decision. The locker room amenities aren't the greatest. at halftime, the team basically just goes under a tree near the stadium, and there is no lack of signs telling you that it's the highest collegiate stadium elevation-wise. Is that something that you're going to worry about with your team or even talk to them about?
When you look at it, I remember when I was an athlete here, I wrestled up there numerous times. We wrestled, I think, in regions there one year, and then played football there. And ultimately, it comes down to that, we just got to be, it's something we can't control, and no need to have an excuse for it. And when you look at how we play, we'll feel our guys on what kind of tempos we need to run. If we want to be in our upbeat tempo, our fastest tempo, then we know that, we got to make sure that we monitor what our guys do and rotate and those type of things. But ultimately, we'll go there. We're going to play football, and don't make excuses for it. Just go and play.
Well, it should be a fun game. That kickoff is at 1 p.m. If you're unable to go to Gunnison, Colorado, and watch it in person, video will be available on America One, and the radio will also be broadcast by John Axtell. I believe he goes on air at 12:45, maybe 12:30. I'm not sure. But as I said, the kickoff is at 1 p.m. this Saturday. Coach, best of luck to you.
Hey, thank you. It's always great to talk to you.